Are you about packed?
Not exactly.
And so you're going to fit all this stuff on your ATV. And then where are you going camping?
It's a little place out in the middle of nowhere, a couple miles from the nearest house.
Outlaw trails?
The easiest way, yeah, the easiest way back out, other than, ATV, is to climb directly up two mountains, across two mountains. So.
Will there be bear maulings?
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
No. No, I wouldn't. Well, I will be here in the comfort of my home with air conditioning and a big TV. So
I've got a little TV.
That's
air
true.
Conditioning.
Well, yeah, that's true. Are you excited?
Yes, I am.
It's going to be really hot. Well, I don't know, 80s.
Shouldn't be too awful, man.
No, I guess not. Considering it's August.
Okay. I need stuff.
Are you going to cook a crawdad for us?
Perhaps.
But not a squirrel, because it's not squirrel season.
Correct.
But we are lucky to live right here with this view. The mountains.
It looks wild, doesn't it?
Well, that looks comfortable.
Oh, it is. I already sat down and tried it. It's very comfy.
I wish I could go, but I'll go when it's cooler, I guess. There he goes into the wild yonder. And it's raining.
Hey everybody, it's Leo. Just out doing a little bit of camping in the middle of nowhere, as usual, out in the middle of the woods someplace. I wanted to show you guys something. I had mentioned, earlier about this post that I was going to show you guys something, some of the wild edible plants and stuff like that. Some of the old school, the way we used to do it when I was a kid. When we were little, we'd go out, my cousins and I, and we'd stay out, 3, 4, 5 days at a time, just goofing off in the woods, having fun. Food was really never really was an issue. Just like right here, just within a few feet of my tent. Tent's right there. You can see it right there. I'm right in front of it. Now this right here, you see these. Let me find the one with the little stem on it. Here. Now, you guys have probably seen these a million times in your yard. It's right beside the dandelions, which is also edible. But right there's one. Isn't it right there? That's called, my mom called it plantain. I don't know what its real name is, but, it's what Mom called it, so that's what we'll call it. But, you can see there's clover. Clover's actually edible. Not a whole lot of nutritional content, but it's kind of sweet. Just thought I'd show you something. Yeah. My little friend right there. Those webs across the trail that you get stuck in your face all the time? That's these guys. Got that yellow butt. They're called golden orb weavers. They look vicious. I mean, they look just terrible, but they're completely harmless. All they do is a nuisance. They get spider webs in your face. That's about it. But anyway, like I said, you guys all know about dandelions. All of dandelion is technically edible, but the stalk itself is kind of milky. It's, you know, it's not good. Like for instance, they say that, you know, when you're in an area, if you eat what the local, you know, animals, local wildlife eats, you're good, right? Wrong. See this right here? I'm sure you guys have seen 1,000 of these too. You know, they got the big monarch butterflies all over them, you know, just like that right there. That's actually milkweed. If you snap, now that one's kind of dry where he's out in the open, but typically speaking, they're pretty milky. And anything milky is, you know, usually not a good thing. But right here, all kinds of wild garlic. It's just basically wild onions. It's called Indian garlic. That stuff's all over the place. There's just within a few feet of my tent. I'm easily seeing 2 or 3 days worth of food. You know, it's not the best. It's not gourmet, but you know, hey, if you're starving, like right here, here's more of that planting stuff I was telling you about. I'm sure you've seen these before and know what that is. The little pale green leaves are the best. The darker ones, they're kind of woody a little bit, but like the little pale ones like this, the new ones, they're more like lettuce. You know, kind of crunchy. They're good. They're edible, more than edible. But just like I said, within a few feet, little fiddleheads. You can see little ferns right there, the little tiny ones with little twisty tops on them. Those are edible. All sorts of stuff. A whole buffet right here. Like when we were little, we would go out and we would put a weir in the creek. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later too. And we would just let the weir be catching fish, you know, the whole time we were out goofing around, running the mountains, you know, having a good old time, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, at the end of the day, we'd go back and, you know, we'd have our, you know, lemongrass and just all kinds of different stuff. And, you know, we'd get our fish out of the weir and, you know, we'd have, you know, elaborate meals. And, you know, we did it all the time. You know, we would take a blanket, some matches. That predates lighters. So this is the early 70s. We would take matches, a knife, and a blanket. And, you know, we would just go stay, you know, and just have awfulest time in the woods it ever was. You know, a bunch of little hillbilly kids having fun. But anyhow, I thought I'd show you guys some of this, and I'm going to make some more of the video and get straightened up here, get my bed all lined out. I don't have it done yet. It's still, as you can see, it's kind of tossed in there, and I got me a butterfly. But so I'm going to get my bed ready, get situated, get everything else lined out. Probably head down by the creek later. There's a creek down over the hill here. Show you how to find food down there, you know, near creeks. Crawdads, if you like shrimp, that's exactly what a crawdad is. If you like shrimps, you will love crawdads. Simple as that. But, you know, they're plentiful. They're all over the place, you know. I mean, we're in the woods. You know, we're in the deep, deep woods here. The nearest civilization would be actually that way. 2 mountains worth, 2 steep mountains between me and them. 3 miles, give or take, something like that. So yeah, we're out there. But anyhow, I just thought I'd show you guys where we're at so far, and I'll update you as we go. Show you the rest of the stuff. Thanks for watching. This, as some of you know, from learning the hard way, this is poison ivy. Okay, a couple interesting specimens right here. Just wanted to show you. The leaves of 3, and if you look, they look kind of shiny. They look kind of almost glassy or waxy like. As opposed to, say, this right here. You see, this one is poison ivy. This one right here is a young berry vine. Berry, probably, looks like raspberry or blackberry. But, you know, you can see the difference. That's more of a textured kind of plant. And that's more waxy looking. Now this, this is more like the ground cover kind of stage. If this gets a hold of a good sized tree, it'll take right up the side of a tree. And you'll see there's one right out through there. I'll show you some other stuff. I'm sure I'll see some more. But it gets that big hairy looking vines that grow up the side of trees. That's poison ivy too. It has the same 3-leaf configuration, except it's attached to a great big leaf, a great big vine the size of your arm. They get big. But right here, over here in the ditch, we have some poison oak. Now that's what poison oak looks like, and a little bit of poison ivy with it. So yeah, not a real friendly place if you're allergic to this stuff. Sumac is about my worst enemy. Poison ivy, poison oak, they never did bother me, but sumac, on the other hand, is a totally different animal. Look at that. Just impenetrable woods almost. Steep mountainsides, up, down, around the hill. That you can see right there on that big tree. There's a big fuzzy vine. See if I can zoom in. That's poison ivy. When it gets bigger, like I said, it could get really, really big. Big hairy looking vines. But that's what poison ivy and poison oak look like. And we'll see what else we can find while we're here. Now what we have here, at the risk of being indelicate, is a perfectly made bathroom. What you look for is a log down, not too close to your campsite, obviously. Now, that's a grapevine there. That's not poison ivy. That's a grapevine. He's innocent. But anyhow, down tree. This one has 18, 20-inch drop, something like that, Perfect height, perfect toilet height. Just saying. Hey, everybody got to go. Okay, we are down by the creek, back in the woods, and it's just a regular old creek, as long as it's not contaminated, by something, you're good to go. Any creek will work. This one, I don't know how well you guys can see them. There's all kinds of fish from, say, 2 to 5 inches, something like that, all through here. Now, if you try to catch these, you're just going to make the water muddy, and they're just going to run circles around you and, basically laugh at you. You're not going to catch any of them. What you do is you go down here, and if you look, you can see how it kind of gets a little shallow right here. Now, you get right in here with the water shallow and make 2 W's with rocks, opposing W's in the creek bed, and make sharp corners. You don't want round edges. Obviously, they run you in circles. You want sharp edges, sharp corners, where you can chase them into the sharp corners and up onto the ground. Completely out of the water and pick them up off the ground is what you want to do. There's just in this one little section, 100 yards of this creek, there's enough food right here to sustain, 3, 4 people indefinitely. All the little fish, there's crawdads in here. There's crawdads in these creeks, some of them 3 inches, 4 inches. Great big tails, 2 good bites. If you like shrimp, you'll love crawdad tails. They're exactly like shrimp. They taste exactly like shrimp. What you do is you just get a small stick, with multiple prongs on it, multiple little twigs, and you put 1 crawdad tail on each one. Leave it over a fire for a few minutes, and voila, you're done. That's all there is to it. But literally unlimited food, right here, just in this one little spot. Beautiful little place too, by the way, isn't it? Beautiful place. And little fish. trying out something new this time out. This was a Christmas present from my brother-in-law, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Anyhow, it's a solar thermos. It's basically, if you close it, it's just a thermos. You know, these close in and it's just a thermos. But you open the wings out and it's reflectors. And it holds, I'm going to say, 8, 10 cups of coffee. I've got coffee in it. So, in theory, it's called a Sun Kettle. So, in theory, I'm going to see if I have some hot coffee for later this evening. And I'll set it up in the morning to catch the first rays of sun in the morning. And hopefully, in theory, I'll have some hot coffee in the morning. No pressure, Steve. All on you, buddy. Just out hiking a little bit. Camp's all ready. All good to go. Just thought I'd get out and walk around a little bit. It's an old logging road. Used to be many years ago. Overgrown now. I just love places like this. Get out in the woods and just roam, look around. Used to love this when I was a little kid. We'd get out. I had several sets of cousins. Little boys, hillbilly kids. They were into this stuff, but not quite as much as me. So I'd get with one bunch and get them out and burn them out on it. Go get with the other bunch, get them out for a while. Mom used to say, I remember asking Mom about it. I told her when I was little that I was going to be a mountain guide when I grew up. And I always did like the woods. And, tried to have jobs doing it, that kind of thing, out here. But I remember telling her I was going to be a mountain guide when I grew up. And I asked her if that was crazy. And she told me, I still remember this day what she told me. She said, there were 2 kinds of dogs. There's inside dogs who don't ever want to go outside. They don't ever want to touch the grass. And there's outside dogs. They don't care, They don't care how hot it is, how cold it is, rain, snow. They just want to be outside. She said, you're an outside dog. There's nothing wrong with that. If it makes you happy, be an outside dog. I've just always remembered that. I thought that was cool. Yeah, we're way out in the woods here. Long ways from anything. It's a little trail going down through their old logging road. Beautiful little place. Look at that. Look what a spider. Just walked right up on him. I don't know if you can tell it from the camera. He's about the size of, bigger than a nickel. Probably not a quarter, but bigger than a nickel. We ain't gonna hurt him, but I am gonna move him to get by. There you go, dude. You have a great life. Be the best fighter you can be. You gotta keep your eye on the ground whenever you're doing stuff like this, for obvious reasons, snakes. We've got, here in southern West Virginia, we have copperheads and rattlesnakes, timber rattlers. Now, copperheads, they'll run. There's another spider web. Copperheads will run. Think of it as basically a poisonous bunny rabbit. That's, they're very timid. They'll run. A rattlesnake, on the other hand, he won't run. He doesn't care what you think. He's not afraid of you. He's got you outgunned and he knows it. He won't run. Just give him a wide berth and get out of his way. The only thing other than that you really have to watch is female bears. When they've got cubs, the males, they'll run from you. I've gotten out on my trail tours before and, chased bears off the trail. You don't want to do that with a female though. She's not going to run. Just like people, don't mess with the females. Get through the thorns here. A little thorny section. Alright, we're through. It'll be more of a small path as we go. You can see where there's been some animals, some deer, that sort of thing through here. Need to get me a walking stick, really, but got a camera. Anyway, just exploring a little bit, looking around. Look at that view. Beautiful out here. The way it was intended to be. Humans were made to live in stuff like this, not concrete buildings. That's why you always have a longing for this. It'll always be there. If you're an outside dog, you're an outside dog. Spider web to the face. It's those little orb weavers. The ones I showed you earlier, there's one right there. You don't see them, you just run into their webs. Face first. Big tree fell. There's another one. Alright. And another one. Spidery spot. Deer tracks. Like some deer using this trail for sure. Probably a little bit of everything, really. One thing about this time of year, it's a little buggy. It's late August. It's a little early for camping, but you know, whatever. Had a couple days off. We're expecting 80s. Do it. Do it while you're young enough to do it. Look at that. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. That's where I just came from. And that's where I'm going. Okay. It's about 8 o'clock. Getting closer to dark. Not quite yet. Just getting some stuff ready. Wanted to show you guys some stuff. You know, back in the day, propane lanterns or the old Coleman oil lanterns, you know, were the way to go. But these days, you know, electronics, even us hillbillies, you know, I had to admit, they've come a long way. These are all rechargeable. This is a battery bank, you know, has USB ports and, you know, plugs on it. You know, you can, anyway, has a light on it. This right here by itself will put out probably more light than 2 Coleman or propane lanterns. This is really good. They're all rechargeable. That one is a rechargeable power bank with lights built in. You know, you can just turn it on and it'll you know, stay lit all night. And, you know, a little headlamp. But this right here is a candle that I believe I showed before, but we'll come right back to him. This is that solar kettle I was telling you about. It's called a Patriot Sun Kettle. I have coffee in it now. It opens up. I'm trying to do this with the phone in my hand. It opens up like so, and the handle makes a stand, goes in those little notches, and I've got coffee in this thing now. And it was, you know, I rode up here all day, you know, getting here. and the coffee was cold. So I put it out for about an hour, maybe hour and a half in the sun, and the coffee was too hot to drink. So yeah, good job, Steve. These actually work. Actually worked pretty good. So I'm going to set him up for daylight and have him catch first rays of sun, and with a little bit of luck, I'll have some hot coffee waiting on me when I get up in the morning. Ha-ha. Now, this here, I showed you guys this once before. This is homemade. That's a just a cookie tin with paraffin wax in it, and wicks. You get the paraffin wax, you get it at Walmart, eBay, whatever, and the wicks, you get like 100 of them for 99 cents, something like that, and just a cookie tin. Now that one's a deeper one. Deeper seems to work better. But this is the second time I've had this one filled. I had this filled once before and used this thing for about 7 or 8 years. This is my tent heater. You can use it as, light if you want, but in a tent, a small tent like that, if you use those buddy heaters, I'm sure you guys, you've used a lot of those buddy heaters, you know what I'm talking about. In a tent like that, even in 20-degree weather, a buddy heater, within 5 minutes, you're turning that thing off because it's 1,000,000 degrees in there, even in 20-degree weather. It's way too much heat, even on low. Something like this is ideal. It doesn't put out that much heat in 20-degree weather. Now, I've used this before, and I got video of this thing doing it. In 20-degree weather, that exact tent right there with the tarp on it, I set it up for winter. In 20-degree weather, it'll be 72 inside that tent with just this little, right here, just that little wick, little candles. That's all it is. I have a cooler that I sit it down in, just to make sure it can't get knocked over or nothing can, get down on the flame or anything like that. But the thing works, it works great. It works fantastic. The first batch, first time I filled this tin, I probably used it for 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know how many times, I went camping with it and used it as a light and heat, in my tent in the winter. This one here I did, I've used this one about 4 times, and you can see it's just barely, a little bit of the wax taken out, little circles. But you want to use paraffin wax because, like soy wax, for example, soy wax is soft. And, this thing's tin. If you got out in warm weather and it heats up, the wax starts to melt. You got a great big mess all in your stuff. Paraffin wax, it stays good and solid. Even, it's hard to scratch even. Just that little bit right there was all I got off of there. But also, it doesn't smoke real bad. I mean, you can see there's a little bit of, but that's putting it out. That's how you, snuff the fire out. It's a little bit different. But the others, they're not, it's not sooty. Soy wax has a tendency to make soot. And, inside a little tent, soot and smoke is, it's not what you want. It'd choke you out of there. You couldn't use it. Paraffin wax, you can just let it burn and don't worry about it. It doesn't do that stuff. It doesn't choke you out. Yeah, I thought I'd show you guys that, and I'll show it to you a little bit later. It's not supposed to get real cold tonight. I think 70, something like that, maybe upper 60s. But anyhow, we'll talk to you guys a little bit later, and I'll get set up and show you a little bit, and we'll have some fun a little bit later. See you then. Don't really need to say a whole lot about that, do you? It kind of explains itself. Can't go camping without a campfire. You have to have a campfire, even if it's a little one. Camping without one's un-American. Well, it's about 9:30 the next morning. Had a good night. Slept real well. Had a great time in the tent. Got a little bit of drizzle. About midnight, something like that. Just lull you to sleep. About 9:30 or so. I've been up since about 8. Been lounging around, rolling around in the bed. You know how it is. Finally got up, got my shoes on, got some breakfast donuts. A couple things I did want to point out. The solar thermos, no. Problem is, it works great when the sun's out. I've been up an hour and a half, whatever. There is no sun. This thing is the exact temperature of the air around it. So morning coffee is out. You know, next time we'll know not to bring this thing. It's a little bit buggy for my taste. To be honest, it's a little bit warm. I prefer more cold weather camping. If it's, you know, daytime highs 80, that's probably a little bit too warm. You know, it means there's going to be bugs and stuff. Also, I wanted to point out right here, my tablet, Heather downloaded some movies for me. She put some movies on the tablet so I could watch movies last night. I get to looking. One's about bears killing campers. One's about wolves killing campers. And one is hillbillies killing campers. I'm sensing a theme here. Anyway, all loaded up, ready to head out. Space is definitely a premium on an ATV. When that is side by side, you take anything you want. ATV, you got to be particular. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.